Okay, guys, we are talking today about choke points and the borders that go along with it. Well, it is a border, but it is a water-type border. But the reason why I bring up borders is because we previously talked about cultural patterns and the borders that go along with that. So if you'll remember, we watched the Jelly Bean video, which talked about race and ethnicity, and it did a really good job in explaining the differences there. Okay, so cultural patterns are seen in groupings of people divided by visible and invisible borders. These borders relate to cultures, as we just studied, economics, and politics. Okay, and the implications that go with them. So you may think that borders don't apply to you, but they actually do. So think about the fact that you live on the West Coast in California, and there's another student your age that lives, let's say, New York on the East Coast. Your life is very different. Your culture is very different. Even down to your language is different, the way that you speak, the words that you use. But when you look on a map, you will see these lines that are drawn by geographers, okay? And even though those might not be physical to you, they are invisible lines that divide you, okay? So now I want you to even think more specifically that you live in the Fresno-Clovis area, which is the Valley of California. So you consider yourselves a city. We consider ourselves a city. Well, so does San Francisco. But we know that it's very, very different. Geographically speaking, sorry, can get my words out. Geographically speaking, your terrain is different. Your environment is different. There's a lot of farming that goes on here. The vast amount of land, it's huge per person that we can own. We can own houses with big lots where that you're not going to find that in a city like San Francisco. So now if I can have you go even more specific and think about the neighborhood that you live in, okay? Again, it's very diverse here. I mean, you could have a neighborhood that has a gated community with really small lots, and then you could have a mile away, you can have 2-3 acres, almost like a little like farmland. And they could be just like a mile or two away from each other. That's how our area is made up. So, you may think, okay, the gated community, parents let their children stay out till it's dark because they're gated. They feel safe, and it's very well lit. And then you have the family that might live out in the country, and there's no lights out there, so their kids are going to be out there playing, and all of that is there's like a lot of traffic on the busier roads, and so it's going to be a little bit different lifestyle for them. Okay, so then you go even more specific and you go into your home. So now you have walls that are keeping you from your neighbors and your neighbors from coming into your home. Okay, that's your borders, your walls. Okay, so and then even more specifically, I know I keep going smaller and smaller here, but now think of your room. Okay, so your room has walls, all right, but you're still in a very shared space. Okay. And let's say, I don't know how your parents decided who got what room, or if your parents let the siblings decide. Not quite sure how that would work, but I don't know, maybe you're the oldest and you're like, well, I'm the oldest, so I get to choose. And your parents were okay with that. Or maybe your parents were like, well, she's the only girl, so we're going to let her choose. Fair or not, that's just the way it is. So now you have your room, you have your borders, and you're separated from people in your own family. So let's just say your room has something specific to offer everyone, if you allow them in. Let's say you have a room with a bathroom. And so your parents are thinking, oh yeah, my kids are so good. They're so good. It's not going to be a problem. He's totally going to let you use the bathroom whenever you want. Hold up. Anybody who has a sibling knows that that's not how it works, especially if it's the oldest child. The oldest child is going to be, there's a money jar right there. You go ahead and you put $1 in every time you want to use the bathroom, and we're good. So see how there's rules and there's regulations within borders, okay? So now you understand that borders aren't just a world concept or a country concept, but it's in your neighborhood. It's in your home, all right? So that hopefully gives you an example of borders. So borders can be physical, invisible to the eye. But the lines are drawn by geographers, as I said, on a map, whenever you look at a map, which we did a lot of that in our last unit, okay? So they could even be seen in bodies of water. Canals and straits, okay, there's 200, okay, which we're going to focus only on the ones that are strong choke points, okay? So canals and straits are two of your vocabulary words, and I'm going to go ahead and just go over that with you really quickly, okay? Canals are man-made waterways where cargo ships and passenger ships may pass through, okay? And straits are narrow bodies of water connected by two larger bodies of water, also used for cargo ships, passenger ships, okay? These are important waterways for international import and export of goods. These narrow waterways are referred to as choke points, all right? And can you guys tell me what valuable resource is transported through the choke points? I mean, it's valuable worldwide. Everybody wants it. Food? Nope, that's not right. But that's important, and it is transported through the choke points. People? Well, people are, but that's not it. Oil. You got it. It's oil. So I put up here on the screen, okay, this right here is the export of crude oil. So as you can see, Saudi Arabia is number one. They have the largest volume of oil that is exported. And then you can see Russia, Iraq, and all the way down. And, I mean, the United States is way, 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 way down. So that is the exports of oil, and you can see the value there. So now I'm going to show you the import of oil. Okay, and again, now you see the import. How funny, because the United States is number one. Okay, so we are the number one importer of oil. But then you can see China, India, Japan, and all the other ones down below. So, but you can see the value. I mean, there's great value. So whenever there's trouble in those choke points, it ends up affecting people economically, and then a lot of times politically as well, because there could be, wars over this. All right. So, okay. So let me get back to the choke points. I'll just read this quote for you. Okay. Choke points also leave oil takers vulnerable to theft from pirates, terrorist attacks, political unrest in the form of wars or hostilities, and shipping accidents that can lead to disastrous oil spills. So just as I said earlier, it can cause a lot of problems if there's piracy or terrorist attacks, or if there's any kind of political unrest that would cause the choke point to be closed. Okay, so next I'm going to show you guys a ship map. It's like a satellite view, which is very interesting, okay? So you can see the little lights. I'm not going to play it right now, but you can see the little twinkling lights. Those are all the transportation through the world, okay? So you can see, okay, let's find a choke point right here. Here we go, choke point. Here's another one right through here, okay? So you can see them. And they're very congested, okay? But if there's anything goes wrong, then, there's going to be problems getting oil, all sorts of goods to people. Okay, so talking about the choke points again, since that is our kind of like what we're doing today. We will move on to other things, but there's 200 canals and straits, but we're going to focus on the most valuable choke points, and I'm just going to list them for you really quickly, okay? The Strait of Gibraltar, Panama Canal, Strait of Magellan, Strait of Malacca, the Turkish Straits, the Suez Canal, the Strait of Hormuz, which is very important, Bab el-Mandeb, Danish Straits, and the Cape of Good Hope. Now, the Cape of Good Hope is the bottom of Africa, so you may think that's not a canal or a strait, but because it's so important and because we use it so much, we do consider that a choke point. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about choke points? All right, so what we're going to do in just a little bit is I'm going to break you guys up into groups, okay? And your assignment is choke point posters, and each group is going to have a specific strait, canal, or Cape of Good Hope. and you are going to go ahead and list, the different characteristics of those, okay? Information, traffic, historical events, political treaties, and so on. I have all this information on Google Classroom. Please use that. It has the description of everything that you're supposed to do. It has the links of information that you can use to get all the events, or the current events, the historical events, the characteristics. It's all there for you, okay? On top of that, I also wanted to point out that we'll be doing bruised border handouts next time that we meet, and that link also has really great information for you. If you'd like to get started on the handout, feel free to do it, or if you just want to use it as a resource, that's also good as well. Okay, so we'll go ahead and break out and get this started, and I'll circulate the room and help you out if you have any questions. Okay? All right, let's go.